Congratulations, it's a girl!
That's impossible!
Welcome back, everyone. Storm here.
Tom here.
We are watching more of the Orville today, episode 3. I've been laughing a lot so far. Love Seth MacFarlane. I like Ed and Kelly, and they work well together professionally. Mm-hmm. Not so much in the married life, and they had reminders of that last time, so in that zoo. And Laura did very well commanding. She was very nervous, but she did very good.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta start somewhere for sure. Shall we get into this episode? And then we'll talk about it after? All right.
Oh my god, she's so adorable.
I like that shot.
Healthy. 15 pounds, 2 ounces. About average for a newborn Moclus.
A female baby born to a member of an all-male species.
Yeah, Bortus, this kid is 1 in a million. In fact,
well, you never know with his expressions what they mean.
Here's to the only
Whoa.
girl in town.
if you do not mind, I would like to be alone with my mate for a moment.
Totally fine. We should be on the bridge anyway. Come on, guys.
I can't get over that's Tyrese. Like, after you said that, I'm like, it sounds nothing like him.
It does not.
Maybe his eye is a little bit.
I will make the arrangements.
It must be done.
No. Besides, we're incompatible species. It's impossible.
Oh, there's more where I came
Ew, what the hell is he doing? This on an arm. Oh my god.
Martin and I would like you to perform the procedure.
What procedure?
Oh
To
no.
conform our child. To make her a male.
But why? Because they can't compute female? Like, she looks really healthy.
It's kind of like Galaxy Quest meets Star Trek.
Yes. Yep.
We will have a dance contest!
What? What is this?
Oh, he added something.
I have taken many years of jazz and tap. If you can beat me in a dance-off, I will surrender.
See, this is where video games are going.
I messed around with the program. I want to mix it up a little bit. You don't like it? I infuse many different styles of choreography to make the steps my own. You will be defeated, senor.
Captain, I must speak with you immediately.
Portis, can't
Ruining
wait,
it.
man. We're in the middle of the game here.
It is a matter of great urgency.
All right, I'll be back. Hey, while I'm gone, fix this thing, huh? Okay. Will do.
Try it. He does it from up there.
That is completely different. Being a girl is not a condition. There are no health risks.
Having a vagina doesn't give you a lisp. I mean, depending on how you use it.
It is different for my people. On our planet, there are no females. For you to judge us by human standards is unfair.
All right, look, even if I was not against this, we are on a Union ship. And for that matter, your planet is a member of the Union. For me to
Order Claire to do something like this would be in violation of 100 laws.
Captain, I am...
Mortis, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it.
all right? Request denied.
Ooh, this got real complicated.
What are you implying this could lead to a military conflict?
Mortis, your people are members of the Union.
Which, by the way, could be jeopardized if the Admiralty decides that this is unethical.
Holy crap.
Do you see the size of all of this?
Different species, different
Permission
beliefs.
to return to my station, sir.
No, you're relieved of duty.
It's amazing how complicated this is. It's actually really good to think about it.
Yeah, because, we all have similar problems.
Yeah, I mean, just on the human scale, I think it's absolutely wrong for any sex change until
I
they're
agree
of
too,
age,
but
and they can think properly.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
yeah, but
20s.
at the same time, it's like you're interfering with another species' beliefs. You really...
And it seems like they fully understand the species, but still, like, it's still very different. Like, they don't fully understand everything about them, so... If it was a risk to be female as that species, like breathing problems, some kind of, like, it shortens your lifespan, or...
Well, some kind of medical
We're
reason.
doing the right thing here, yeah?
What do you mean? Are you doubting it?
Let's say you and I had a baby.
On purpose?
Yeah, and imagine that baby was born with
A third leg.
Like a whole full-size leg.
yeah, like an actual leg, like a foot.
It all
and
depends.
everything.
What does it look like?
And we had the doctor remove it.
And no one would think twice about that, right? Even though there are species in the galaxy
With 3 legs, we would be conforming that child to our species appearance, and we wouldn't have any moral qualms about it.
Do you actually believe that's the same thing as changing a girl into a boy?
It's not.
No, I don't. I'm just
That would be a
Policing
medical
myself,
problem.
Because we all know how easy it is to judge another culture's way of life just because it's alien to us.
But you have to balance that against some universal code of ethics.
Oh, sorry, Glyden.
Porters, mind if we come in?
Now is not a good time.
What happened to your head?
You come in anyways.
Go away.
Listen, we feel really bad about everything that's been going on, so we thought you might need a little cheering up. How about a beer and a movie?
I am not in the mood.
Oh, come on, you're laid up anyway.
What do you say, a couple of brews and an old earth flick, huh?
Rudolph, please.
Rudolph.
Down a bit.
Christmas.
I mean, that nose of yours. That nose. That beautiful, wonderful.
Are they like sending him a message?
Seems that way.
Christmas is not over. What I'm trying to say is, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
It will be an honor, sir.
Okay, Rudolph.
I can't understand the concept.
Power.
He's really into it.
Who doesn't like classic Rudolph?
Of course.
Oh no, he sees it differently.
Without Rudolph's nose, Santa would not have been able to complete his voyage.
Looks like Santa got pretty lucky, huh?
Christmas would have been ruined if Rudolph had been euthanized at birth as his father wished.
Euthanized.
Yeah, I don't know if that was ever on the table.
What was clearly a deformity became a supreme advantage. One can never know.
Okay, maybe it's not the correct, but it's kind of on
Choose a
that
child
track.
for me. I must find Clyden.
All right,
Yeah,
I don't know.
problem.
Yeah, he just left his baby with two drunk dudes.
Reminds me of my dad.
Aw.
I miss him.
You must hear the tale of Rudolph. You will rethink your conviction. I promise you, my conviction will not change. You cannot be certain of that. Indeed, I can. How? Because I was born a female.
Really? Ooh, it thickens.
Your parents made this decision for you. You do not know what your life would have been like. I would have been an outcast. Do not pretend otherwise. Or perhaps you would have achieved glory for guiding Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. What?
Mortis, Captain
Love
says
it.
get your ass up here. The Moclus vessel is approaching.
I love the mix of seriousness. I mean, it's a lot more serious this episode, but the humor too.
Well,
Like these punchlines.
they use it in a serious tone.
Yeah. Whoa. Why does every ship have to be bigger than ours?
Safe travels, Mortis. We'll see you soon. Between soul and sacrifice beats the heart of civilization.
What's that from?
It is from a novel by Gondas Eldon, a Moclan writer of great esteem. It is customary to respond with a fitting passage from the literature of one's own planet.
I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. Work harder.
Those are words of great power. Who wrote them?
I think it was actually about 15 different people.
They must be very wise, these 15 people. Well,
I
you
love
should
it.
probably get going.
That was funny.
Moclus's primary industry is weapons manufacture, so they're
God.
really fast and loose with their research and development.
God, hopefully we don't end
Test
up like
explosives
this.
wherever the hell they want.
Holy crap. They're hostile.
Commander Grayson to Moclus Air Control. What the hell are you bastards trying to do?
Our deepest apologies, Commander. That testing zone was added this morning. We neglected to include it in your flight plan.
That's great. Thanks for thinking of us. I'm gonna need a pair of pants brought to the landing site.
We will have pants waiting for you.
He's kidding.
No, I'm not.
He doesn't have extra pants. Oh, I guess not.
Alora, would you mind taking a whack at it?
Wow. But they're completely different species. Like, I get the male-female basics, but, oh, nice.
The Tribunal will note that this female was more than strong enough to reshape the cube.
Different anatomies per species,
Show
though,
me a
because
male in this
females
chamber.
are usually weaker
Irrelevant. She is
in
Selene.
general terms.
All members of their
Per
species
species.
possess elevated physical strength due to a high level of gravity on their home world. In fact, if there were a Selayan male here, he could reshape the titanium with half as much effort.
I think the Tribunal will grant that since there's no Selayan male present, that absurd statement is purely speculative. Now, on to your assertion about male intellectual superiority. Lieutenant Malloy, I'm going to ask you a few questions that one might find on any basic test of adult knowledge.
Go for it.
These are going to be kind of hard for you. Sorry.
It's okay, Commander. It's for the baby.
Let's start off with some Earth
Trying to
history.
make you look stupid.
A few hundred years ago, the continents of Earth were divided into separate nation-states with individual sovereign governments. What was the capital of the United States of America?
Pass.
No, it's not a pass kind of thing. Just give me your closest guess.
What was the capital of the United States of America? Nabisco?
Oh no! Nabisco!
Let's move on. What are the four chambers of the human heart?
The Chamber of Secrets.
Harry
Chamber
Potter.
of Horrors. The Chamber of...
No, let me get you halfway. There's the left and the right ventricle, and the left and the right.
I would like to switch to movie trivia.
Let's try one more. In the year 2056, which genetic engineer discovered how to target and eradicate individual cancer cells?
Doctor.
Doctor.
Bill Nye the Cancer Guy?
Well, my point is made. While this male may be the fleet's best pilot, he's also an idiot.
Oh.
Sorry, Gordon.
Totally okay.
As inconspicuously as you can, grab a Lara and meet me at the shuttle.
Can you do
Take a
that?
trip to the mountains.
What did he find out?
Will they find another female somewhere?
That's what I'm kind of thinking. So females have been born. It's not as rare as they make it sound.
Who are you?
Ooh, there's a female! And slender frame, more so, like a human female. She agreed to come, that's good.
Oh my god.
They didn't even know there's females hiding.
What is this?
My name is Havina. I wish to enter testimony.
Absolutely not. Arbitrate. This freak is an offense to the Tribunal.
Dude, you have been
a colossal dick all friggin' day. Shut the hell up.
Arbitrator, to my knowledge, there's no prohibition against the testimony of a Moclus female.
That is correct.
Oh man.
A life of isolation in the wilderness. Cut off from society. This is your shining example?
Well, it's your fault that she has to be like that.
It's a pock in the flesh. When one has gazed in solitude upon the infinity of self.
You dare to bastardize the words of Candace Eldon to serve your own purposes? If he were here, he would spit on you for that.
Would he? Why don't you ask him?
Oh. Oh, is it her? Oh, how cool. Oh,
Surprise.
what? Oh, that's a good jab right there.
I do not believe it.
Wow. To be able to sneak that and be like
Look
she
at
had to lie and say she was a male.
Your planet's greatest writer is a female.
Oh, that's pretty
Many
awesome.
ways to contribute to society, Advocate. This was mine.
That is awesome.
Unless there are any objections, this tribunal is adjourned.
Just
The
like that.
Arbitration
Good.
Council is asked to give their decision within 12 hours.
They highly respect that writer. Like, that's awesome.
Surprise.
Yeah.
We, the Arbitration Council of this Honorable Tribunal of Moclus, do not find sufficient cause for suspension of the procedure.
Oh, crap.
Very well. It is decision of this tribunal that the child will receive the corrective alteration.
It's too stubborn.
Arrangements may be made at the Central Medical Facility.
Nothing was going to change that.
The starship Orville. This tribunal is adjourned.
Wow.
I'm so sorry, Bruce.
What is Bladen? I am pleased to introduce to you your son.
Oh, they did it already. Oh, they did it already.
Captain, permission to return to the Orville. Of course, Bortus.
Oh, jeez. And then all the laws that conflict with the Union. There's going to be more issues there.
Yep.
Sorry for all that has happened. It was not my intention to hurt you. I just wanted to do what was right.
By
What is important
your
now
people's beliefs.
is Topa.
Topa. Have a name.
It is a good name, and we must give him a good life,
Yeah.
whoever he becomes.
Yeah. Oh, Rudolph. How cute. Oh. So much meaning.
Actually, a tough episode.
That was, wow. I thought it was all going to be laughs with some serious tone, but this was a heavy episode. I think it's great that they can, have something like this. It's a heavy topic.
But, even though it wasn't successful, it could be the beginning of a change for them.
I mean,
Yeah.
Bortus, I'm sorry, he changed his mind. He was, it was funny with Rudolph that's how he learned.
Well, I mean,
but-
seeing that there's a court case about it now, maybe other Moclans will start seeing from a different point of view as well.
yeah.
So maybe down in the future, down the road, they'll have more of a, open mind where they can try doing this again and seeing if maybe there'll be something that can change.
Yeah, and they were all shocked that there was a female surviving in the mountains, that her parents decided for her. It's not like, infants have a sex change if you're female. Like, they have no choice. It's not even, when you're a teenager, I think that's too soon because I totally understand. You want to be comfortable in your own body, but I do feel like, you need time to grow and be a full adult before you make these life-altering changes, to be you. I just feel like you would regret something, if you did something too soon. And anyways, like
But
infant...
when you're a society, though, that, has been based upon that, as much as, I agree where, the freedom of choice and everything, but at the same time, too, being the first one, if you are allowed, then you are still going to be an outcast, because everybody is all set in their ways and they're going to look upon you as a disgrace, a dishonor. It's going to take a while for them to actually start coming around and until you start getting more females, to actually see a real change. So
Yes.
either way, she was going to have a very hard life.
Yeah, and that really does suck. That you'll have probably a really bad life because everyone on that planet, everyone is going to resent you, hate you, and it's going to be awful, but it has to start somewhere. And unfortunately, not to say that, it sucks that people even have to go through it, but, to have a whole community against how you were born, it just really sucks.
Well,
and in this case, she was perfectly healthy. There was nothing wrong. I get if it's a medical problem.
Well, yeah, that was the whole point of not doing it. It's because she was perfectly healthy. There was no real reason to do it except for tradition, really.
Yeah.
But the thing is, too, is though, if they gave her the right to choose, waited till she became of age to make her own decisions.
Yeah.
Think about if she's trying to go through any type of Moclan school or just growing up in a village or a city or whatever, how much pain and suffering she would go through where being the only one, she might have gone through with the sex change anyways because of all the ridicule she's been dealing with, and how difficult her life has been up until that point. So it's very hard to say, what the future would hold for her. So it's kind of it's a tough call. I mean,
You never know, because like you want to be positive and be like, she can do great things, male or female, you can do great things, but to change someone's sex, like anatomy, again, comparing to humans, like Moclin, like we don't know much about Moclin or anything about their, anatomy or anything, but apparently the Union does to a certain extent, and every culture is so different. So, it's easier to compare here where you have completely different alien races with completely different anatomies where, it's like, holy crap, like, it
But
seems
see,
a lot
if
more
it's-
complicated, but it is very similar to just on Earth, what humans go through.
Well, it's
and
also
beliefs are so
with-
different.
being human too, we're used to our values, and what we believe is right and wrong. But when you introduce a new species who's been doing this for, way longer than we've been around, what I gather, who are we to just come in and just say, this is wrong, this is how it needs to be? I mean,
That's what's hard
it's
too.
tough.
Yeah, it
Well,
is.
that's the
It
thing.
is
It's
really tough.
because it's our ethics, it's our belief, but they don't see it the same way, and they could be, I don't want to say less evolved, or their thinking process is different, but it's just they're set in a way that has worked for their society, and it's like I know change can be good, but we also got to think about why they do that and what their beliefs are, and we have to kind of respect their culture.
I do
What it is,
agree.
to an extent.
To an extent, I do absolutely agree with that, because sometimes people stick their nose into things, think they know everything, and it's like you got to like understand the culture and stuff. And just watching this episode, it seems like they understand a lot about Moclins, but still, yes, it's a cultural thing. But even with like Earth's religions, like there's a lot of things that people don't always agree with. And in this case, like Kelly said, which is more extreme, yes. What happens if it wasn't a sex change, if it was female? What happens if they execute the baby? Do we just accept that? They're going to murder a baby? I mean, like, that's crazy. And especially it just comes down to you have a healthy person, you have a healthy infant.
Why are you changing it?
Like, why are you changing it? Because of the influence of the rest of the world that's going to traumatize you because of their own beliefs. Like, that is just not right.
Well,
And I get that's how it is with them, but like something there I feel like has to change down the road. And unfortunately, it's going to be hard. And even say if you do have a lot of females that have an uprising and are happy the way they are, it's still going to be resented. It's still, because cultures, like people, when they believe a certain thing for so long, like it's really hard for some people to adapt to change, because that's how they were brought up all their lives, thinking females were a disgrace and a disease. And yeah, so it's a very interesting topic, this episode.
So,
like I could just talk about this all freaking day.
One thing I could say too is that in Star Trek, there's a race called the Ferengi, which are the ones where they had like the butt heads kind of looking thing.
Okay. I think I know them. Okay.
So in their culture, females are not allowed to work. They're not allowed to wear clothing. They have to chew. They have to chew all their food for their husbands, for their
Ew.
males. But later on in Deep Space Nine, the Grand Nagus happened to fall in love with a female Ferengi who happened to be Quark's mom, and she started putting things in his head to give women, Ferengi women, more power to do things. So she started wearing clothing. She started actually making profit on her own, which was forbidden in their culture.
Yeah.
And yet it was very tough for her at first, because everybody wanted to take her down and to stop it, because that's not how things were run.
Yeah.
But eventually, things started to come around, and they saw a big change. So although it wasn't life altering. Yes, thank you. like this is, changing the sex of a child, but it still shows that, yes, a culture can change, but it's going to take more than just one event to do it. So
to
this,
do it.
even
Yeah.
though it wasn't successful here, I still hope that,
It
that
opened a
could be
door.
right. It opened a door for other Moclans to see, well, hey, maybe they have something here, and maybe we can proceed down the future and get that changed.
Yeah. I love how Havana, like, not only is she a female that no one knew was surviving out in the mountains, like, she is this famous, like, this all-time famous writer of their planet that everyone truly respects, like, deeply. So that was great to see that because, this culture is so far along hating females for centuries, maybe. I forget how long they said, but it's been a long time if they even mentioned it. But and just to have a female come in, like, whoa, but they're not going to listen to her. They think she's a disgrace and dirt. So for her to actually have that backing her up, that she is smart and she actually was like this famous, or is this famous writer that they all respect, like, that was the way, like a great way to have them go, holy crap, think about
Right,
it.
but then he also mentioned that you're living in isolation. What kind of life is that? I mean, even though she did say she's happy,
That was before they
it's
found out. Yeah, but that's all they're doing,
right,
because she had
right.
no choice. She was forced to live a life like that. And she's probably better for it, Like, she seems like a good person. She says she's happy.
Well,
She seems like
at
she's
least
truthful.
being in isolation, she wasn't, exposed to the ridicule. Even though she knew it existed, she
Yeah.
wasn't exposed directly to the
Toxic,
ridicule.
yeah.
But the same thing would happen
Toxicity.
with their child is because they're living on a Union ship. They she would have been more accepted the way she is because of the cultural difference.
I love how
So,
complicated that is alone. Like, just all the
well,
laws and beliefs right on this Union ship, because that's everything. Like, they try
well,
to
yeah.
neutralize
That's the thing,
everything.
though. She if they decided to keep her a female, she could have had a decent life because she's on a Union ship.
Mm-hmm.
But if she tried to go back to her planet, then she would have been, met with ridicule and disgust and, you know, kind of seen as like a traitor kind of thing.
Absolutely. And apparently, again, because they all have a treaty or some kind of contract that, they have to respect each other to a certain extent, and the Union is against the sex change for an infant, and the
Well,
Moclans full
that's why
on, like, we have to do this.
well, that's why they wouldn't do it on the Union ship because it's against their law to do that.
But
Even though it's
still,
not against Moclan law, that's why
yes.
the Moclan ship came to meet them.
And Ed even said that he is responsible for the baby because the baby was born there. So letting the baby leave the ship, knowing what was going to happen to the baby, like that was also on him as well. So I like how
But
complicated it
at the
gets.
same
where it's
time,
like,
though, he can't. If it's Moclan law, he can't just. I know it's his ship, but if
I
that's
get it,
their
yeah.
law, it's a very.
I just
it's
like
a very
how
gray
complicated
line
it
and-
is. Yeah, because
Well,
there's
what
no
I-
straight answer. Like, there's going to be laws that are broken, and in this case, Ed had to let go a bit because he didn't want to break their treaty with
But
a
one
whole
thing
planet.
that I'm a little surprised is usually with something this dramatic, between two different species, especially members of the same union, I would have thought that you know, the union itself would have sent their own representatives, their own lawyers to help with this trial instead of just leaving it up to the Orville to take care of it. Because that seems like, this could be a treaty breaker. Let's get a little, no offense to these guys, but let's get people who are more experienced in the field to, plead the
I can
case.
see that, but at the same time, they're all against females, so I don't think they would even really be on Bordis's side anyways, Like, I think that's the whole thing, because, they needed someone who could actually fight, for a female. But the one thing that also was interesting was I love Kelly. Like, I think she's a very strong leader, and her having like a lawyer background, I think that's good. But I'm like, do they resent all females? Which it seems like they resent all females with the comparisons they were making in court. But, she's a female. So I'm like, they're not going to take her seriously if it's like all females, not just their species,
It seems like because they said that a female gender is considered inferior, weaker.
Yes. Yeah.
But like the comment he mentioned with Alara was up there. he could a male could have done the exact same thing with less effort. So he's still trying to say that yes, she's superior than they are. However, they're still inferior compared to their uh, the male version of themselves.
Yeah.
So they're still saying that. So pretty much they're saying that all females are weaker in comparison to males. Is
Yeah,
what they're
it's
saying.
very basic thinking, and just biologically, with the human species, I mean, a lot of people debate this a lot, but it's just science where there's all different types of people. Like some females are super strong, and of course, working out and stuff helps. But anatomy wise, like some people have like more muscle, just denser bone. So some females are stronger than males, but in a general statement, biologically, females are physically a little bit weaker than men, but it varies all the time. It's not straightforward.
But even if that's 100% true,
but you're not inferior. You're not inferior. Like that's
the thing. It's like, I mean, there are guys that are a lot weaker than women. It's like that's not the point of it though. It's maybe physically okay, but there's so much other aspects to it that
there's so much more. Absolutely. And that's the thing, like a lot of us get so sensitive where we let our emotions do the thinking when it's facts, and I totally agree. I mean, like males aren't just in one category, females are in another category. Like they mix all the time, and there's just all these subcategories. There's just so many different types of people that you can't just like label, okay, you're in this place and you're in this place, and
that's it.
And it's just very like basic thinking, and it's dangerous, because
I mean, but I'm trying to say is like, maybe they are physically weaker than the males are, but their brain function could be more superior. Their longevity could be more superior. It's like empathy. But they don't know because they change them all at birth, so there's nothing to compare them to.
Yeah.
So if you try to argue that, there's nothing to compare it to, so it's kind of like you're going into a dead end,
Yeah, and even having comparisons too, like people who are so bullheaded will always find excuses and not actually see the facts. You know what I mean?
Well,
so it would be a long time.
Obviously, in every species, there'd be somebody like that, but
yeah, for anything really.
For anything, yeah. I mean, you're gonna have strong, you're gonna have weak of any kind of gender or species. There's gonna be both spectrums of it. So who's to say that?
Yeah.
Not having females is going to be bad for your species.
Yeah.
But again, for a whole planet that thinks the same way, you can't just change the whole society in one event. So that's why it's going to have to be a long-term
thing. And it's going to go back and forth, and it's going to take a very freaking long time.
But on the flip side too, maybe if their kid discovers that I was a female, can I go back to being a female? Maybe they can reverse it down the road.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe. And again, don't know Moclus anatomy or anything, but they said it's perfectly safe for an infant to go under that kind of procedure. I mean, just thinking about anesthesia, like, there's so many risks for an adult human to go under, and
but they've been doing
have
this
surgeries. I know, so it's like the
centuries,
technology's a lot better. So if you take away that risk where there's no alteration, not just the sex, but putting your patient, this little infant who is like only a few days old, nothing's growing, like you have so much growing to do, like you're altering something, like the organs are going through stress, like are you shortening their lifespan in any way by pushing them, or not even pushing them, making them go through this procedure? But apparently that's off the table, that it's perfectly safe.
Well, because like I said, the Moclus, they've been doing that as part of their tradition for who knows how long. I mean, it's been more than just a couple years. I mean, it's been centuries.
Yeah.
Sounds like. So, I mean, they pretty much have it down to a science, so to speak.
They know
what they're doing as on that aspect.
Yes, or they're just saying that because they just want it that way and that's it. And it probably is safe. I mean, the baby was fine at the end, Topa, but it seemed like she was okay, or he was okay. But again, like with this kind of belief, they might just, because no one really sees the surgeries of females and what happens to them. Like even Clyden didn't know he was female until he was examined by someone that wasn't his race, So who knows, like, what actually happens down the road. They might just lie and be like, oh yeah, it's perfectly safe, no harm done, doesn't affect their health at all, blah, blah, when it actually might.
It's kind of on the same, now that I think about it, it's kind of like the same thing as like what Spartans used to do with their males. If you weren't picture perfect when you were born, you were literally thrown away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even humans, the human race has gone through something like that. I mean, it wasn't sex changing because they didn't have that ability back then. But if you weren't a perfect specimen of a male, you were tossed off a cliff.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, we can just go back and forth with this. This is a good discussion, though, and it's just super complicated. It's super complicated. I'm curious what you guys have to say about this as well. Another thing I want to say is Kelly, like, bringing Alara in, and even Gordon. Like, I get, what she's trying to compare, but again, everyone's different. So just because you have someone who's an idiot doesn't mean all males. He can't represent all males, and Alara can't represent all females. And then when they brought up Alara's race and said, well, what about the males? They could probably do more, blah, blah, blah. I mean, who knows?
Well, then,
I don't know.
Kelly had to say, well, since we don't have one to compare it to, then that's just speculation.
Exactly.
Which is correct.
It is correct. But the comparison is like apples to oranges kind of thing, because she's a completely different species.
Well, that's why it was important for them to find a female Moclin to actually use as an example, because that is the species in question.
Yeah.
And the sex in question.
Yeah.
So you kind of have both things coming together and saying, look, she was successful. Yeah, she's isolated, but that's because you guys kind of forced her to be isolated.
Yeah.
But she's happy. She's done some great things for the community, even though you didn't know it was her. Mm-hmm. So it's the chances out there.
Yeah. So very interesting, and it makes sense that the baby still had the sex change. I am very disappointed in that, but at least, Bortus is open-minded, and he really wanted the best. They both do, Clyden too, but I just like the contrast of him being more open-minded to the idea, and then Clyden, him actually being female at one point too, like that weighs even heavier with him siding this is what they wanted for me. So he's more for society on being, another number or being the same as everyone else.
I think Clyden, knowing that he went through the same thing, but I think he's so, I don't want to say washed out by his society and the laws of his people, but he was probably brought up to be told, especially once he found out that he was female, he was probably brought up to be like, we saved you from a life of ridicule. We saved you from, everybody looking at you, making fun of you. But he didn't find out till
later, though, he said.
Well, I know, but once he was found out about that, once he found out about that, I'm sure his parents or whoever was telling him, we did this because, we wanted to protect you. We wanted to make sure that you fit in, and it was law. It was the right thing to do. This is what we do.
Yeah. And I just love the comparisons too, because like I like how like Seth MacFarlane, like he breaks it down so everyone can like understand the differences, like just because people start thinking all these crazy thoughts, but like how he's like, oh, if our baby was born with a third leg, like what would you do? It's not the same thing, but we all think differently.
No, but it's like you're not giving them a chance to use that third leg as a gift. You're altering it to match everybody else.
Yeah,
just like the same thing with circumcisions. It's like it's not a necessary procedure, but yet, a lot of people go through with it.
That's not a necessary procedure, but like that and the leg thing is different, because like I get like, oh, other aliens have 3 legs, but I'm like, that's a natural anatomy. Like this, with humans, that's going to cause like medical. Yeah, this is going to cause problems.
I mean, it might not. I mean, like circumcisions. I mean, like it's not going to cause a medical. I mean, there are benefits for it. Well, I know, but
not the good kind of third leg. Sorry, I had to go there. I know, but hey, what funny humor.
But even with the third leg though, it's like as long if the third leg isn't like, if it's fully developed and it developed correctly, why cut it off? You know what I mean? That's the point that they're trying to make. You know,
I get that, but that can be
If it's-
debated because a
if
human
it's a
doesn't
third
have a
leg and it's
perfectly.
not-
I mean, like maybe a finger that's I've seen like 6 fingers on a human that work
like
perfectly.
a third leg though.
fine,
If it's not functional, if it's not a
I've
functional
never.
third leg.
I don't know. Maybe there is someone with a functional third leg.
Well,
but-
I'm just saying if the leg grew functional, and they can control it as a third leg, not just like it's part of a second leg, and you can only move 2 legs at a time anyway.
if it was possible, yeah.
If it was functional and usable, then yeah, then that would be a good argument. But if it's usually a deformed third leg, it's not a fully developed third leg.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it becomes just an extra piece that's in the way.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's kind of a, you know, but how do you know if it's going to be fully functional 10 years down the road when the kid's fully developed?
Yeah. I mean, again, like, this is fun to debate. We can go back and forth.
You can go back and forth with this all, you know, for years, but it's something
It's
that they're going to have to
interesting.
figure out down the road. You know, if it starts growing momentum, hopefully they can get that law changed.
Yeah. This is only the 3rd episode, too. Like, I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. It's getting, like, this deep into, like, major topics, you know? And, but yeah, so I'm all about people being who they want to be and being comfortable in your own body. But when you're, I mean, an infant, that's like, so freaking extreme, but that's the point in this, to really make you think. But I feel like not until you're an adult should you make it, you know, that kind of change. Because, like, yes, some people, you know, say that, I mean, again, I'm happy with who I am. I'm lucky. But I hear a lot of things of people saying like, oh, I wish I had a sex change when I was a teenager. But then there's a lot of people who actually regret that too. And, you know, they feel pressured to do it so early and not really know where they want to go or who they want to be. Because it's like a permanent change, you know?
Well, yeah, they're still trying to figure themselves out at that age. So it's kind of hard to...
It's hard. It's easier
make
to
a
say
decision.
because I'm lucky, like I'm happy with myself, you know, and who I am, but I get why people, you know, make certain decisions. But when you're like really young, I just feel like,
Well, when it's not your decision. I mean, when you're an infant just born,
oh
you
no,
have
that's
no
different.
decisions,
There's
you
no
know,
decision
it's-
there. But I mean, I'm thinking
yeah.
teenager now. Like, it's that, like that's debatable, and but I feel like you know, when I guess like once you're like. It's hard. I really think that until you're in your 20s, you know, that once you're a full-grown adult. But it's different for everyone. Again, it's easier for me to say it because I've never lived that life of not feeling comfortable in my own skin, you know. So
Well, that's the thing. It's like, you know, if you feel like that's what you have to go through, then by all means, be you.
yeah,
You know, it's just in a society that's been, you know, stuck in that aspect to make a decision to keep someone male or female. Either way, it's still going to be a good or bad decision. Who knows?
yeah. And not to, like, I don't want to get into a whole nother topic, but, like, you know, fitting in with society, yes. Like, it's that you have to really think about as well, because like, yes, the old ways of how people do things, like you get stuck and you don't want to always be a part of a society because you're different, you know, but also the way the world is now, like everything is open to, you can be whatever you want to be. And some people do get pushed more of like they're a little confused on like, well, maybe I am supposed to be something completely different when they're actually fine in their own skin. So even society now is like pushing both ways. Like, oh, you have to be the old way or the new way. And we're just so heavily influenced by left and right and what, you know,
what's
like
right, what's
how
wrong,
you should
you know.
be and or what you should be. And it's just not what, but like who you should be in past tense and like the new ways of thinking. And I think people should be comfortable in their own skin, but I think we're just heavily influenced in so many different ways that it's not like fully like 100% like your own thought, you know. It's like there's a lot of confusion out there too. So anyways, it's a lot of influence and a lot of confusion because of it, you know. So it's a very interesting, very hard topic to talk about. But Tom, thank you for joining me on this one. This was a good episode. So I can't wait for episode 4. I am sad the baby did get a sex change because the baby had no choice, and it was all society and the old ways of thinking.
And it's not saying that with the baby having the sex change, it's not going to have a good life. I mean, I'm sure it'll be different. Like Borda said, that I'm still going to love it regardless of the outcome. I'm
That
still gonna love
was
the child
the most
away.
important thing.
Yeah, and he still wants to be with Clyden, regardless
Yeah.
of his views on it. So
Yeah.
that's a good sign that the kid's still going to grow up having all the love that it needs to have.
That's a good thing to say too, because male or female, this person is going to hopefully have a really strong, like, successful, good life, happy life, yes, it's going to be different because a childhood is unfortunately going to be just so much. It's going to be so much better because he's a male now, but and a female would have struggled. But I think that person, like, you are who you are, will still turn out to be hopefully happy and a good person. Like, hopefully, just because the sex changed, it doesn't change the thinking or change the person's brain or so it'll still be the same person.
And my
just
next
different
question
experiences.
is will they tell tell him that she was born a she?
I feel like
Sooner or
Bortus.
later?
I think not. I mean, I don't even know if we'll go there. If there'll be like time jumps in this or something. But if I think Bortus would say something sooner, but wait until Topa's like at least a teenager. So.
Well, probably I'm thinking like age of understanding. You know what I mean?
Age of understanding. There you go. That's a better way to say it, because who knows like how. They
we
grow
don't know
mature.
we don't know how quickly they mature to understanding, as a Moclin.
Yeah. So, love you guys. I'm going to end this now. But
It was a deep episode, and if we said anything that might have offended anybody, we're sorry. It's not what we intended. It's a very hard topic to talk about.
Yeah.
And there's so many different views, especially being, interspecies and whatnot. They have different laws. We have different laws and different views.
Agreed. Yeah.
So it's be yourself.
Yeah. Be yourself and, think with facts, not emotions, because
don't listen to anybody else.
Emotions make us blind sometimes, or we get too like angry, or when we're not really listening to what the facts are. But yeah, so love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening to us. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Doodles.
Have a great day.
Woohoo.